So I want to talk about something that I did that was like terrible. And I feel bad for what I did and I don't at the same time. I slept with a mother and I might have passed a daily disease to her. I don't know if I have any daily diseases for sure, but it is a maybe. And I'm living a lifestyle where I know and I believe and I know our body is capable of fighting all diseases and all viruses, and most of them are made in a lab, like COVID-19. Now, I'm not for sure, it could be a conspiracy, but I feel like nowadays, especially with technology and science advancing, we're going to be seeing a lot of man-made, lab-made viruses and diseases. But I feel like, and I believe and I know that our bodies are fully capable of fighting every disease and every virus. Because I know Jesus heals people, and I know mushrooms can heal people. So by aligning our lives with Jesus and by eating mushrooms, I think that, and getting enough sunlight and fasting and taking care of our stomach and our mind and body, by keeping our body strong and our mind strong, we can keep our immune system strong. And so I know that living this lifestyle, I don't have to fear any disease, any daily disease or any daily virus. And I think everybody is capable of fighting off all diseases and all viruses. But that's if they align themselves with Jesus and they eat mushrooms. And my whole thing was, I made a video talking about, I might have a daily disease, but then I also made videos talking about shrooms and Jesus. And my whole thing was, part of my research is trying to bring mushrooms and Jesus together because, I made the choice to believe in Jesus after my magic mushroom experience. And you have some Christian families that very strict and they want to only rely on Jesus, so they won't let their child get vaccinated, they won't let their child get antibiotics or medicine. And I don't agree with some of the scientific and pharmaceutical medicines that are being sold nowadays, but some of it does help. I believe and I know that natural herbs and mushrooms can heal the body, because there's been a lot of scientific research about specific mushrooms like turkey tail mushrooms, how it heals cancer. And then you have lion's mane, which helps heals and prevents dementia and Alzheimer's and helps connect neural pathways in the brain. Now those are scientific, psychological terms, but just understanding that lion's mane mushrooms can help improve the brain function, and then turkey tail mushrooms can help improve the immune system and fight off cancer cells. And so there's already scientific research to back up mushrooms as being a healing medicine, okay? And so I feel like sometimes you might have a very strict family, a very strict Christian family who wants to be only reliant on Jesus, and they might have a sick kid, and they don't want to, like I said, take their sick kid to any hospital or vaccine or any of that. And they might not even want to mix mushrooms and Jesus together. So there might be a certain mushroom that can heal their kid and heal their sickness. But like I said, they want to be only reliant on Jesus, and they don't want to mix mushrooms and Jesus. But that, like I said, there might be a specific mushroom that can help heal that kid. And so my whole teaching is trying my best to bring mushrooms and Jesus together, because I believe bringing both of them together is how we heal ourselves and our body and mind, and how we have a strong immune system. And so, but there's other factors like getting enough sunlight and fasting and eating eating vegetables and all that stuff. But I think the human body is fully capable of fighting all diseases and all viruses, okay? But someone would have to want to live that lifestyle in order to have that strong immune system to be able to defend yourself against all viruses and diseases. Now, if someone wouldn't want to live that lifestyle, then they could be vulnerable to man-made diseases and man-made viruses. But they wouldn't have the fear of a deadly disease if, like I said, they lived the lifestyle to be able to fight all diseases and all viruses. And so, like I said, my whole teaching is teaching that lifestyle and how to live that life. But yeah, I don't think everybody wants to live that lifestyle. And I want to help everyone and teach everyone how to live that life, but if they don't want my help, then I don't know how to help them. And like I said, I might have a deadly disease and I might be passing it to people. And I don't like putting the fear of deadly diseases in people's minds, and especially mothers who think about the future of their kid. They don't need that fear in their mind. And so me putting that fear in a mother's mind was a terrible thing for me to do. Now, I couldn't help it. I had to tell her because we swapped DNA. And because we swapped DNA, I have to tell her. And I told her about the life that I'm living and how all diseases and all viruses, I think I might have said most, but I might retell her that I do mean all. And I think in that video I did say most too, but I do mean all, okay? And so I have to tell her about that. But I know it's probably scaring her and that fear in her mind. But like I said, if you live that lifestyle, that you don't have that fear of a deadly disease. Because you're keeping your mind strong and body strong and your immune system strong. So why be scared of a deadly disease? But just because I don't have that fear anymore doesn't mean someone else does. And sometimes it's hard for me to, and I do know, but it's just like I have to try to put myself in someone else's shoes. And that's hard for me to do, but I have to understand that fear of a deadly disease is not the best place for a mother to be, okay? And I feel bad, especially since I had sex with her before telling her. Now, it was on my YouTube channel and I told her about my YouTube channel, but me actually speaking to her about this, I did not tell her before I had sex with her. And so this is why this is a terrible thing that I did. And if there's anything I've done in my life that I deserve to go to hell for, it's this. And I'll admit it. And I'm not sure if God is on my side anymore. And I'm not sure if Mother Nature is on my side. And I know definitely the devil's not on my side, because the devil's not on anybody's side. And so I've done something terrible, and I put the fear of a deadly disease inside of a mother's mind, and I feel awful for it, but I don't know what to do. I've already made my apologies, and I feel like I need to give more than an apology, honestly. And I don't know how to do that. You know, I could offer the best advice and the best wisdom and the best knowledge, but this was something terrible that I did. And with my my YouTube channel, I've talked about trying to reveal everything about myself and all my secrets. So I want to share this too. And I want to talk about why I slept with her, because I did talk to her about waiting until marriage. I did talk to her about why I chose not to wait until marriage. And I want to explain it in this video, why I did not wait until marriage. And because I did like her, and I did want her in my life, it was just hard for me to get over another woman. And so for her to fit her in my life, that's what I was trying to figure out. And I knew it wasn't going to be an easy thing to figure out. And I was getting drunk and getting high and distracting myself from figuring that out fully. And I wasn't fully ready to conversate with her and fully ready to be in a relationship with her, because I didn't get it fully figured out. And so I wish I put more time and I wish I put more thought into how I can make that relationship work with her. And I know we have to move on from the past and we have to let go of our regrets, but I chose not to wait until marriage because the person that I wanted to marry, and I want to marry, and I wanted to live the settled down life with, is pretending like they never met me. So, with that being said, I am not trying to live that life anymore. Instead, I am trying to live for the end of the world, which is what I've been doing before I even met that certain woman who I was willing to settle down for. And I knew, and she had a kid, so she was already trying to live that settled down life. So the woman who I wanted to settle down for is pretending like she never met me, so I don't want to live that life anymore. And so I'm going to live my life for the end of the world like I was doing before I even met that woman who I was willing to settle down for. And so I understand that this new woman I was talking to is a mother, and she is trying to live that settled down life. But and she's not trying to live for the end of the world, because she's trying to think of the future of her kid. And I get that. That's how a mother is wired. But like I said, I'm not trying to live the settled down life anymore. I'm just trying to live for the end of the world. And even though I'm living for the end of the world, still wanted her to be part of my life in that way. I still wanted her to be part of that life, even if I'm not trying to settle down. And that's what I was trying to communicate to her. And I think I did. But like I said, we were trying to live two different lives. And I enjoyed talking to her. I thought that she was a great listener. Having a woman that allowed me to share my mind like she did was a relief. I did want her to be in my life, but I'm living my life. I'm living for the end of the world. And so she told me she's not trying to think about that. I did something terrible. And if I figure out how to make it better, then I will. But right now, I don't know what to do. But yeah, I think that is a terrible thing, to put the fear of a deadly disease inside of a mother, and I admit that I did that. But I did learn something though. I'm not sure exactly how to make up for what I did, how to fully make up for what I did. But me being with her, I did learn something about myself that I felt like I needed to remember. And she helped me remember it. She helped me remember a part of myself that I felt like was hard for me to get back in touch with. And I knew this, but I felt like it was hard for me to address this issue of mine and understand it fully. And so what that issue is, so like I said, before I met the woman that I was willing to settle down for and get married to, I was living for the end of the world, and I was using my love for the end of the world to love the present moment by imagining like an asteroid about to hit, and like I'm just taking in my final moments and just fully appreciating the moment and life, all of life. And this has been something that I've been doing since I was a kid. And it's just always what I use to cheer myself up, or even to try to get out of a suicidal mind. And when I escape into fantasy, or like, watching The Walking Dead or any apocalyptic movie or TV show. But even when I was going through puberty, my sexual fantasy was imagining a zombie apocalypse and protecting a woman in a zombie apocalypse. And so I've always used the love of the end of the world since I can remember, since I was a kid, to love the present moment. And especially after I took magic mushrooms and understanding how to fully appreciate the present moment, which I still don't think I fully know how to, but I'm still learning. And I want to get back into that, get back in touch with that part of myself, which is fully appreciating the present moment and fully appreciating nature. And I feel like it could be hard getting caught up with responsibilities and problems and drama and so many things of life that we get caught up in, especially with me learning something else, which I talk about learning how to fully appreciate the present moment, but almost if you're taking knowing and learning out of it, if you were to fully appreciate the present moment, you would almost remove learning, which you are learning, but being so present. I feel like it's about understanding the difference between knowing and feeling. Because you have, when people say, I know what you're saying, versus I feel what you're saying. Okay? And so I felt like which this has been a part of me too, but I feel like I got too heavily reliant on this and not fully appreciating the present moment and loving the present moment. And I kind of neglected that part of myself to just fully focus on this other part of myself, which is using my curiosity of understanding personality and character to cheer myself up. And if I learn something new, then I feel better. And so, especially if it's something that I enjoy learning about. And what I could get in the trap of is knowing and not feeling. And I get that knowing can help me feel, but I can't be curious all the time. And so to take a break from my curiosity, or not even just fully taking a break from it, but taking my focus off of being curious and being fully curious and just fully focusing on fully appreciating the present moment and loving the present moment and imagining the end of the world to help myself appreciate the present moment. So by imagining that every moment is my last moment, because we never know when our last moments are going to be. And so by imagining every moment is my last moment and fully appreciating the moment is how we fully appreciate and love all of life. And I feel like this is something that old people do, especially when they get close to death. They learn to just fully appreciate the present moment. Appreciate nature, listen to the birds sing, appreciate the trees, and appreciate the sunlight shining on our skin, and appreciate the wind, and appreciate all of life. And treat every moment as if it's your last moments. And you're fully taking everything in. You're fully taking everything in and all of life in. And you're loving the moment. Okay? And learning how to do that. So taking my full focus off of being curious all the time to be fully focused on appreciating the present moment and learning how to do that. I talk about understanding, yellow curiosity and gray confusion. And, for yellow curiosity, I have a yellow question mark in the middle. And then for confusion, I have a puzzle piece, a corner puzzle piece in the top right. And my philosophy for understanding yellow curiosity and gray confusion was to make peace with the missing puzzle piece and accept that I don't know everything and I can't know everything, and be okay, make peace with not knowing everything, and I don't have to know everything, and make peace with that. Okay, so making peace with the missing puzzle piece. But I feel like for me, my missing piece is not fully appreciating, because I also have a pink heart in the middle with the yellow question mark in it, but learning how to fully appreciate the present moment. And for the present moment, I have it in the top left as a white Christmas present, because I see the present moment as a bright white light. And the present is a present. It's about fully integrating, making peace with the missing puzzle piece, and fully appreciating the present moment. And learning how to integrate all of it. And like I said, the love of the end of the world is what helped me prevent my mind from having suicidal thoughts. Okay, and I talk about magic mushrooms, how they help me stay away from suicidal thoughts. But in my own mind, in my own way, like I said, to appreciate the present moment and to escape from my problems and to cheer myself up, was to imagine the end of the world. The love for the end of the world helps me love the present moment and helps me not be suicidal, because I thought of a question. Why would anyone commit suicide if they knew the world is ending? So that's a question I thought of, and I'm still trying my best to understand how to prevent suicide. And I talk about magic mushrooms, and I talked about many things before, but something that's helped me, the love of the end of the world and imagining the end of the world to love the present moment, is how I help my mind from becoming suicidal. And so I kind of forgot how to do that fully, which I didn't fully forget, but I just have to shake off the rust and to remind myself how to fully love the present moment and appreciate the present moment. And like I said, what's helped me do that the most is the love of the end of the world, imagining my last moments, imagining the world ending, helps me love the present moment and appreciate the present moment. So that's my missing piece. I need to fully learn how to do that, and I will teach. I'll make videos teaching people how to do that. But I gotta reteach myself first. So, and I'm still doing that, and I'm gonna keep trying to do that because I'm trying to fully integrate all colors of my personality. And I feel like I haven't really done this and appreciate the present moment for a while. I need to fully get myself back aligned with life.